And welcome to another Justice video. If you've been keeping up with the channel, you know that Cody has recently started making a Pai Sho board from the show Avatar, The Last Airbender. Now, if you haven't heard of the show Avatar, you are truly missing out. I highly recommend watching the show, which they just recently added to Netflix. And with so much heartbreak in the world right now, this show really is a good way to add some sense of peace to your mind. And don't be upset about those who are just now jumping on the Avatar bandwagon. Just like the Uncle Iroh memes going around right now have suggested, now we have more friends to share a nice cup of tea with. And speaking of Uncle Iroh, and to get back to the main topic of our video, Cody has sent over the Pai Sho board and has asked if I'd be able to give it a little paint job. He honestly did an excellent job at making this too. I love the weight and size of it. It really feels like a piece of the show coming to life. So I really want to give this project my best effort to help Cody create something that feels real, classy, and somewhat familiar. I don't have a lot of experience with paint, and I've also thought about using stain as well, but I think I'll head down to the store, see what they have, look up a couple how-to videos, and then we'll get to work. Okay, so before I get any kind of paint or stain on this, I want to sand it down a little bit. Cody let me borrow his sander, and so that's going to help me get the edges and that kind of thing, and then I have a couple sheets of sandpaper here that will do with the top, so to get it nice and smooth before we add the stain and the paint. I don't think I'm gonna get too fancy with the edges. I'm probably just gonna kind of smooth them out and make it nice and even, and that'll probably be it. All right, let's get to sanding. So I got the edges smoothed out a little bit. I think I'm gonna go a little bit further, but I think I'm gonna start sanding the top now and get it even more even with that curve. And then I'll go down to a 220 grit sandpaper, and then we'll be ready for stain and paint. Luckily, Cody used Sharpie when he drew the grid, so it soaked into the wood a little bit, so I'm still able to sand it down quite a bit, and the grid still comes through so that later on, when I paint the grid on, it'll be a little bit easier to kind of follow what he did. Okay, so we're on to the last grit of sandpaper. I'm really happy with the curve, and you know, I don't need it to be perfect. This isn't a Hasbro Pai Sho board. This is a Pai Sho board that's been in your family for generations. You just busted it out of grandma's closet. It's old, it's been in the family. That's the look we're going for. We don't want something that's too crisp. We want something that feels authentic. I'm not gonna worry about getting the edges too perfect. I just want it to be smooth, feel like a game board. We are finally done with the sanding. That was a lot of sanding, but it was worth it because it feels so smooth. I think I'm gonna try to wipe all the sawdust off of this, and then we'll get staining and painting. Okay, so at the store, I picked up a couple different colors of stain. We picked up some paint, and then a clear coat and a wood conditioner. I have a couple different pictures I'm kind of going off on here. I'll put them up on the screen for you. On the show, it almost looks like they use 4 different colors, but on these homemade ones that I'm seeing, it almost looks like they're just doing 3 colors. So we're gonna do a barn red stain, a golden oak, and then I'm thinking there's some white usually on the board, but I'm thinking it would look better if it was more of like an off-white. I think it would make it more realistic. So I kind of got this off-white right here, but it might be a little bit too brown, so I got regular white as well to maybe make it even a little bit whiter. So I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do for sure yet, but I think I'm going to stare at these pictures for a little bit and kind of figure out what color is gonna go where, start taping things off, and then we can get staining. I'm gonna start taping out the big triangles first. And I think we'll start with the stain and then we'll move on to the paint. Just because paint sits on top of wood and stain soaks in, so I feel like the paint would be easier to cover up any mistakes by the stain. So now before I add the stain, I'm just really making sure all of these edges are down nice and tight, just so there's no bleeding through. There's gonna be a little bit of bleeding no matter what, but luckily a lot of those blemishes will be hidden at the end when I paint the grid on. Okay, so I was a little bit of an idiot because I was supposed to add the wood conditioner before I put the tape on, but that's okay. I'm just gonna have to add this spot by spot, or I'll just do that for now, and then when I move on to the other spots before I add anything else, I'll add this. But basically what wood conditioner is gonna do is just gonna make sure that the stain doesn't come out all blotchy. So that's why, especially since these are old pieces of wood and kind of mix matched, I wanna make sure I get some of this on there. That way it just looks as good as possible. Okay, so now that the conditioner has dried, I'm gonna add that beautiful stain. Look at how red that is. Oh, that's gonna look awesome. I really wouldn't mind that being just a hair darker. So I think I'll let this dry, and I think I'll add one more coat. That is a gorgeous red. I am so happy with that. It is so perfect. So I have these inner triangles now, and like I said, there is gonna be a little bit of bleeding, but that's okay because we're gonna add the black grid, so that should cover most of that up, and you won't really be able to tell when this is done. Now we're gonna go ahead and add some more of that barn red to these outside corners. And I decided I'm even gonna get the edges here. Okay, I'm extremely happy with the way it's turning out so far. Seriously, everything is looking so awesome. Now I'm gonna add the last of the stain. It's a lot lighter. This one's called Golden Oak, and I'm gonna add that one to these little outside parts right here. Then kind of like an off-white paint on the inside triangles. All right, let's get to it. I can't even express how excited I am. I am so happy with the way these colors turned out. I love the contrast of the red and the brown. And then when I put the white and the grid, it's gonna look awesome. I'm so excited. So for these last two triangles on the inside, I'm thinking of going with this off-white. They call it malted milk. And then after I paint it, I might go in and sand it and kind of give it that weathering look, just so it looks kind of old and aged. Like this is a game board that's been around for a while. All right, we have successfully added all of the stain and the paint, well, except for the grid, but we're gonna do that tomorrow so that this has the entire night to get nice and dry and it won't be all sticky, we won't have to deal with that. And then tomorrow we can add the black grid and then it should be done. Okay, so it is day 2 of finishing the Pai Sho board and it is time to take the tape off to see how the white triangles came out. Honestly, I'm a little nervous. Oh my god. Oh, it looks perfect. Oh my god, it came out so good. Yes. Oh my god. You gotta see this. What's really nice is that Cody's grid comes through the stain just enough that I can base my lines off of that. And I think I'm just gonna kind of tape it off and then I'm gonna just use some black paint the grid on. And then after that, once that's dry, I can go ahead and just paint the triangles in. Yes, this is the straight edge I'm using. I don't even have a ruler, I'm using a clipboard. So now I have a tape measure here and I'm just gonna figure out exactly how thick I want each line to be. That way I know exactly how I want to space the tape out. Okay, so I finally have the tape on. I went ahead and taped the edges too because I decided I don't really want the lines to go all the way down, so I just want them to kind of stop here at the edge. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and paint these lines in, then I'll let that dry, take this tape off, and then retape the other side and get those lines painted in. All this concentration and steadiness is reminding me of that one scene from Avatar where Sokka has a sword fighting master and he teaches him calligraphy. Okay, so I have finished the first set of black lines and I'm pretty pleased with the way that went. It was actually pretty therapeutic. It wasn't very difficult. I'm happy I went the tape route because I was able to just brush it on and be done with it. So yeah, I'm gonna let this dry for a couple of hours and then I'll take the tape off, retape it, and I'll do the other lines. Okay, so it's been a couple hours and I think I'm ready to take the tape off. Honestly, I'm kind of nervous, but I'm excited too. So we'll see how this goes. I think it worked. Okay, so the tape is off and I am so excited. Look at it. It's really looking like a real Pai Sho board already. Oh, I'm so excited. There's just a couple little tiny spots here where the tape grabbed the white paint, but it's so minor that I can do touch-ups later. Or like I said, I might age this up at the end. So I might not even worry about those spots because honestly, they're not that bad. I think it looks so good. I can't wait to do the other lines. So yeah, let's let this dry for a little bit and then we'll go ahead and get back to taping. Okay, so that tape is finally on. We had a couple tape emergencies. That's why there's different tape down here at the end. But luckily I found the blue tape, so everything is good. We're safe. Now time to add the rest of the paint. so I just added the next part of the grid. I definitely see the finish line in sight. I am very excited. I'm gonna let this dry, then I'm gonna peel the tape off. Hopefully the tape doesn't peel off any of the black we already did earlier, and then we can tape out those triangles, paint that, and that should be a lot quicker. And then just a clear coat, and we should be about done. It is the moment of truth. It is time to see if the grid came out or not. And I truly mean that. I'm nervous, but excited. Ooh. It's like opening up a present. Oh, I think this is gonna work. Do you see it?
Wow. Oh my gosh.
This is real life. I am so happy with the way it came out. I can't wait to do the triangles. Oh, it's gonna look so good.
Whoa. As you start to see both the red color and the white color against the brown color, it's epic.
It's epic. I can't even, I am so excited the way this is turning out. And I am so happy I used the acrylic paint too. It feels like a real grid, like the squares really feel separated. I'm so happy with it, seriously. It really feels like a piece of the show has come to life. I'm really happy that I went with stain instead of paint for most of it because I didn't want it to be like cartoony looking. I wanted it to look real, like a real game board. I'm just gonna tape these last couple of lines on, paint it, throw the clear coat on, and it should be done.
You just sneezed and flew 10 feet in the air.
Really? It felt higher than that. You're an airbender.
Sure am. Giant light beams, flying bison, airbenders. I think I got midnight sun madness. I'm going home to where stuff makes sense.
Cannot get over how perfect this is. I am so happy with the way it turned out. I think Cody's gonna love it. All there is left to do is put the clear coat on. I think I'm gonna do that now, and then we'll see how it looks tomorrow morning. So it is day 3 and we are finished. The clear coat is completely dry. Okay, so check me out. So I did a little bit of aging to the white parts just to give it a little bit older effect. And that's the whole reason I didn't use paint for the whole thing in the beginning. I didn't want it to look too cartoony. I wanted this to look real. Like I said earlier, this is the Pai Sho board that's been sitting in grandma's closet and has been in your family for generations. I wanted it to have some stories to tell. I definitely learned a lot on this project. Number 1, put your wood conditioner on before you start taping anything. Number 2, make sure you buy enough tape. And 3, sanding is a lot of work. I'm really happy with the stain I picked too. I love the brown contrasting with the red, and I feel like this looks really similar to the reference I used from the show. So I'm very happy. I hope Cody likes it. I'm super excited to show him. I know he's working on the tiles for it right now, so I'm sure that video will be out soon. And then all the pieces will be together and this will be a complete project. I really feel grateful being able to do projects like this. It definitely keeps me out of my head. I feel accomplished afterwards, and that's a really good feeling to have. So yeah, definitely let us know if you want us to do more projects like this. I love making props from movies and TV shows and comics. We got a good response when we did the lightsaber build. The part 1 of this video was getting a good response, so if you have any ideas of anything you'd like to see us build, go ahead and let us know. We're always down to suggestions. And on that note, check us out on Facebook and Instagram at JustisBand and on Twitter at InjusticeWeStand. I hope everyone out there has an excellent week, and until next time, catch you on the flip.